on, you guys? Glide here, aka Oats, with another Black Desert mobile video. And today, man, I'm gonna be giving you guys an updated PvP guide on how to play Phantasma. Man, I don't know how you guys even let me get away with that video I posted from like a year and a half ago with Phantasma. What I was doing then was absolutely illegal, and I don't know how I got away with that shit, but I did. Anyway, here's an updated guide for you guys on how to play her, and let's get right into it. And so for the first skill I'll be going over with you guys is going to be Night Pierce. And so for the succession skills, it's totally optional, whatever you want to use. The only reason I'm using Night Pierce is because I feel like Phantasma doesn't really have a lot of mobile skills. So Night Pierce is kind of like the icing on the cake for me, an extra mobile skill. But I would say Eclipse is definitely the better option here in terms of her succession skills. For one, this actually does damage and is just better overall for PvE and PvP purposes. So if you're looking for damage, go Eclipse. If you're looking for mobility, use Night Pierce. Umbral Pillars. With this skill, Phantasma summons a pretty nice AoE around herself. However, this is a very close range skill, so don't try to use this at long range to engage with your opponents. You aren't going to hit them. However, this skill is super armored while she is attacking. She has 2 charges of this skill, so technically that's 2 super armors, and she recovers 12 MP upon use. She also has an enhancement here in Night Shroud. Recover 12 MP every 0.5 seconds for 1.5 seconds within the range of Night Shroud, and negative 30% PvP damage taken for 3 seconds. That's a pretty good enhancement, and she also decreases the AP of the other player that you are attacking when you hit them with this skill. I would go with the Serret inscription. You can go Labrive if you want to, totally up to you. Let's go into the next skill. Vediant Shockwave. This is a very good skill for PvE and PvP in my opinion. The only reason I'm not using this with Phantasma is because Night Pierce is basically in its place. So with this skill, she sends forward this kind of blast from her swords, and this is super armored in field, not in arena, and you recover 12 MP upon use. And with this skill, not only that, you recover HP and increase your AP upon hit with this skill. You also have the options of making this a forward guard or super armor, totally up to you. I would recommend going with the super armor unless you just want to use a forward guard for whatever reason, if that's just something you prefer. And I have this skill inscribed with Ahib. You can go Owl if you want, if that is the better option for you. Now for one of my favorite skills in this entire kit, Dark Cleave. With this skill, Phantasma basically summons a sword from the sky that impels her opponent, knocking them down. This skill also has a very nice range on it. You can engage your opponents with this and also perform some pretty good kiting with this skill. You'll be surprised, trust me. However, aside from that, you can decrease the DP of the other player upon using the skill and hitting them with it. This also inflicts a burn, and you have a flow here, hold for an additional attack. I highly recommend you turn this on. In hindsight, it looks like you're doing less damage here, but think about it. You're performing an additional attack, so technically that is more damage, even though the numbers are less. So highly recommend you turn that on. I have it inscribed with Serret. Ahib is also a very great option. Just choose whatever you like better. The next skill I have here for you guys is Fumatic Burst. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. You do have a super armor while performing this skill in the field, not arena, and you recover 12 MP upon use. This is a pretty good range skill, another one that is great for kiting and just engaging with your opponents from mid to long range. This skill will inflict a bleed on your opponent upon hit. Also decreases their move speed, and let's see here, recover an additional MP. So technically you'll be recovering 15 MP instead of 12 when you use this skill. I have this also inscribed with Seret. There's also Owl inscription if that's something you prefer. Next up here we have Twin Slash, Phantasma's second movement skill that I'll be going over here. This is super armored and you recover 12 MP upon use. Basically, Phantasma legends herself forward and dazes her opponent. However, I highly recommend you come over here and turn on the flow, because with this flow you'll be getting some damage reduction and you cannot be grabbed while jumping performing this skill. So with the flow turned on, so lunge herself forward once again and then hop over her opponent, summoning a rain of swords, knocking them down. With the enhancements, we have a bleed and also increasing your DP for 10 seconds. Pretty nice. Time for what I think is the most damaging skill in her entire kit, which is Supernova, you guys. And this skill, I'll tell you right now, is absolutely insane, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be using it for PvE or PvP. This skill is great in both. And the first thing I'll be going over are her enhancements for this skill. So we have increased your crit chance for 10 seconds when you use the skill on hits. And not only that, we have a flow here for an additional attack. Highly recommend that you turn this on. The damage does not get reduced, it remains the same flat. So basically you're just doing double that damage that you're already getting from this insane skill. And not only that, there's a cooldown reduction of -3 seconds, which I recommend you grab as soon as possible. I know skill books can be a pain in the ass when you make a new character, or you're new to the game, but just try to get this as soon as you can. And so I know that usually I talk a little bit about Labreve, but I figured it'd make the most sense with this skill since we do have an enhancement here to increase our crit chance. It would make more sense to spec into Labreve just for this one skill. However, if you do really want, Owl is totally an option there for you. Don't hesitate to go into it and try it out for yourself. This is going to be the third movement skill that I'll go over with you guys with Phantasma. And with this skill, she is super armored and cannot be grabbed while performing it. She also recovers 12 NP upon use. And I feel like I've said this so many times, and you guys are probably starting to realize by now, this class has a lot of skills where she's recovering her NP. And I'll go into that as of why a little bit later when we go into the passive. But as of right now, this skill, basically what Phantasma does is she flies forward and stuns her opponent, and she flies at you very fast. You wouldn't even expect it to be that fast, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. And she has an enhancement here, -2 seconds, so technically this makes the skill a 5-second cooldown. So you can kind of spam this a little often, not too often. To be honest, it doesn't even feel like 5 seconds when you're running from someone like a Zerk or something like that. But I mean, it's still pretty good, decent cooldown timer. I wish it was a little shorter to just help with her mobility, but I'm not gonna complain too much. I still love this class and think it's great. You also decrease the move speed of the other player for 10 seconds and increase your crit chance for 10 seconds on hit. Now, I know there's some of you out there who are probably curious about Nova Chain, and as of right now, I haven't been using this in any PvP builds with Phantasma. For one, because it's not protected, and two, this is really more so just a PvE skill. But there are ways you can incorporate this into a PvP build, more so for Arena, and it will be useful in a way, I guess you could say. It does have an inscription with Ahab and Labreve, so yeah, I'll leave that up to you if you want to use this skill. However, there's just a lot of better options for her to be using, so this is not a skill I would recommend really using anymore. And so we have her passive here, Scattering Darkness. Apply Scattering Darkness for 20 seconds upon using a skill while at 100 MP. So basically, when your bar is full, that blue bar is full, this buff, or well, passive, will be activated, and with Scattering Darkness, she will summon Spectre Swords that will inflict damage to her opponents. So if you don't have this flow on, basically with the passive, the swords are just going to stick into your opponents like little thorns. You'll want to turn on this flow so that way not only are you doing more damage with your passive, but instead of these thorns, swords, whatever they are, going into your opponent, now Phantasma is having swords rain down from the sky. It looks so freaking badass, and honestly, it's one of my favorite things about this class is her passive, and just the overall look and aesthetic of Phantasma is really pleasing. So highly recommend you turn this on, and that's all I got now for the skills. Let's get into the combos. Alright guys, so this is the first combo I'll be demonstrating for you. So essentially how I do this, I usually go in with Phantom Dash first, then I perform Night Pierce. After Night Pierce, go into Pneumatic Burst, after Pneumatic Burst, Supernova, into Umbral Pillars, and then into Dark Cleave. And so let me just demonstrate how that would look for you. And you can just exit out with Twin Slash. So for this second combo, this is almost exactly like the first one. However, I'll be throwing in Twin Slash a lot more earlier instead of using it to get away. So this is how the combo would look for demonstration. And you can just get out like that. So here's a cool tip in case you didn't know. When performing Supernova, I see a lot of people just staying stationary like this with Phantasma. That's no good. With this class, in my opinion, and just pretty much any class, you want to keep yourself moving around. You want to be mobile, so that way you aren't predictable and just stationary taking damage. So with the additional attack that she has here, you can actually move her around when you hold the analog, as you can see. So just something to keep in mind when using this skill. So this is a kiting combo that I came up with this class. This works pretty well against classes that are good at evading, or they have like 24/7 super armor rotations and a lot of forward guard. You'll still be doing damage to them with this and just using these skills overall. So without further ado, let me just show you guys this combo. For those of you wondering if this class can farm, I mean, just take a look at what I'm doing right now. I don't think you really need to question too much in terms of farming with this class. I mean, she does pretty amazing in my eyes. Some of you may disagree, but this class has great AoE. Her passive makes farming a breeze. And I'll just show you guys real quick my PvE setup that I have with this class. You probably don't even need to use all these skills, but I just have them on anyway, just because I can. However, if you're someone who farms in OL a lot, I would not recommend using this set and just using more of a super armor PvE set. But this is what I have here in the meantime. Use whatever you want in terms of PvE, but I think these are the best skills. Well, you guys, that's all I got today for Phantasma in terms of PvP and PvE. If you were on the fence about maybe class changing to her, or if you didn't know if this class was good or not for PvE and PvP content, well, I'm here to tell you that she performs very well in both of those areas. And this is without a doubt one of my favorite classes in this entire game, outside of like Kunoichi and Invoker. But yes, hopefully this cleared the air for some of you guys, and if this video was helpful, please do leave a like, consider subscribing, as I do make a lot of PvP guides on classes in this game, and I'll be doing a lot of updated ones as well. So yeah, enjoy the clips, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.